2:05 p.m. and we are live in the city of gastronomy. This is Around the Table. Trusted local news and talk is where we are on AM 1030 The Voice, kvoi.com, where we invite the most interesting and influential newsmakers, tastemakers, style makers, movers and shakers, healers, foodies, and friends each and every day for lunch. Right here in our kitchen. This is our test kitchen, and at the end of the week, we start out the week every Monday with Pima County Supervisor Ramon Valadez setting us off on a very positive trajectory with his incredible messages. And we end the week every week in the second hour in a very spiritually satisfying, I want you to imagine, and this is like so non-spiritual, but I got to tell you, I'm thinking of my friend Frankie Santos right this second from Frankie's Cheesesteaks. And I'm thinking of the most satisfying first bite of the most satisfying Philly cheesesteak sandwich you could possibly ever have.
That
and
can be
all
an
that
experience.
all that kind of spiritual
Yeah.
I want that much spiritual satisfaction for everybody. You got to translate it a little bit. It's got to take place somewhere in the solar plexus instead of the palate, but you get the idea. And that's the idea behind Spirit's Kitchen, where at the end of the week, I pour myself a cup of coffee. I get you whatever you guys want. We have a little bit of this delicious salad or whatever I have. And we chat. And we allow all of those intuitive things that come to us, those messages, those ideas, to happen.
Yeah. Allow it to be.
Executive Chef Michelle Russell is here. Russell Michelle. I know I was... Sorry about that.
You have two Michelles in the house.
I know,
that's why.
because I was already saying, I know.
You can put a comma at Michelle Russell. That's fine.
Russell, Michelle Cardenas. That's just the three names.
Yeah.
They're just sort of blending in my mind.
Yeah.
The executive chef from Canyon Ranch. What an honor and what a great privilege it is to get to share these airwaves with you and this time with you. Thank you for coming to our kitchen.
It's an honor to be here. I'm proud to be on live radio with you because it's purposeful.
Well, it's not like anything else. Live radio doesn't sound like anything else.
No, I can't hear it either.
And it's...
You have to be present.
And Michelle Cardenas from Brightway Wellness is here as well. And my good friend, Rianne Maldonado, is here, the Vintage Oracle, who is the proprietress of Shy Moon. It's Shy Moon Center?
The Shy Moon Center.
The Shy Moon Center. Okay. Have you ever heard of Lemurian code healing?
Not at all.
No?
I have not heard of the code healing. I have heard of the Lemurian people. They're a lost civilization like the people of Atlantis.
Oh.
I have heard about them. My daughter identifies as a descendant, I guess, or associated with Lemurian. She feels very connected with the Lemurians. But I don't know anything about this healing code. It sounds really interesting. I'm anxious to hear more about it.
Me too. You originally, Michelle, you're descended from Hawaii. Will you talk a little bit about your family's shamanic traditions? Because we have a shaman joining us today.
Yeah, I don't have shamanic traditions in the family per se. My connection with the Hawaiians and with my Asian ancestry is that they did do energy healing. I have several ancestors that have been part of the Eastern medical field that incorporated energy healing. So there's a lot of that, but not necessarily shamanism. But energy healing for sure. And
when we talk about energy healing, just give us a bit of a primer on when we hear the word healing, automatically Western wise, we think of, Banner Healthcare. Or, go into the urgent care. Healing can be a lot of things. When we talk about energy healing, what are we talking about?
We're talking about a non-traditional type of healing in which energy is sent either through the hands or it can be sent by distance. It can be sent by touch. It can be sent with hover techniques. There's many different ways of administering the energy healing. But it's just the universal energy that's all around us. We harness it, we send it, and then the recipient takes that energy and uses it for their best and highest good, healing mind, body, and spirit.
Bring balance to their lives so that then their body can go about its natural healing functions in a balanced state.
Exactly.
We can also calm the mind, relax the mind, deep breathe ourselves. I always say, in the heat of a moment when there's a crazy service and someone is having struggle and they're stressed out, I say, okay, take 15 seconds for yourself, breathe in deeply 3 times, slowly as you exhale, say relax. And then it works very well. And then by the time that they get to the 3rd breath, then they are calm and relaxed and they get back in the game. So you can do that out there too. Utilize the 3 deep breaths and just relax. You can calm your mind.
I use that before each tarot reading. 3 deep breaths to get grounded, to get focused, to get in the moment.
And breathing is a very effective form of energy transference.
Absolutely.
We're breathing that in and using that in our bodies. And so
with intention.
Breath is very important.
And we all deserve peace of mind and tranquility and relaxation. We can all put ourselves there by calming our mind.
Right.
When we're talking about this, Chef, I've got to bring it back to food. How important is what we're eating and being human in this experience of the energy healing? So I feel like we've got one foot in the human world and the terrestrial world and one foot in the energy spiritual world.
Absolutely.
When that's the case, how important does the food become? Because it kind of has a role in each of those 2 worlds.
It does. Well, food is, first of all, our fuel. And when you put wholesome goodness in your food elements in your body, it feels natural. It feels clean. And then the chef's job is to create an experience on your palate. And, well, first of all, eat with our eyes. Freshness, like your beautiful peach and tomato with basil salad. Very beautiful and vibrant. It's inviting. You want to go eat that. You want to taste it. And then 70% of taste, I've said this before, is aroma. And then so the aromatic.
Here.
It is very vibrant. And then texture. So when a chef creates a dish using the 5 senses.
Yep.
And then that way you become enveloped in this dish and creation. And then as you're eating it, nothing else is going on around you because you're centered in with what you're consuming.
You know, it strikes me when he says that, and I've never thought of this before, but when you think of the 5 senses and you think of it in relation to eating, isn't it interesting that the 5 senses might be like the 5 chakras of eating, right?
Definitely.
Like there's a whole relationship between which sense you're experiencing with and which part of your nutritional needs that's meeting. I think that's
absolutely.
Kind of cool.
And then when we're eating, we also can be present with what we're consuming, and then that creates the palate is also a memory element.
Right.
So when you taste something, you remember when you said something about the Philly cheesesteak, my mouth started watering because I could bite into it right then and taste it.
Yeah. All right. So I have a new friend, and she's more than a friend because she's done something for me this week that I was doing what I thought was show prep. I thought that I was learning enough about what she does. I thought that I understood what it meant to prepare to have her on this show today. She's been listening in for the last 20 minutes to get a sense of what's going on here today. But I don't think she needed to do that as much as I needed to go and experience what I had to do. My guest, Maya the Shaman, has come to us today to share with us the Lemurian Code healing tradition. And when I tell you that when I started this week, a different person, you have to believe me. She did something so profound that I am so neophyte to describe that I am just beyond privileged and honored that she would come and help me explain it. But more than that, I feel like somebody who's discovered a great new restaurant and you just want everybody you know to go there and try it for themselves because, oh my God, you're going to love it as much as I do. And it's really an honor and a pleasure to introduce you to this tradition through this one really remarkable woman. Maya the Shaman, welcome. How are you? Thank you. I could stay on the air for an hour and say thank you, and that's not enough.
That's great. I'm so glad that you enjoyed our session, Jennifer. This is wonderful.
I want to introduce you to our guests. We have Executive Chef Russell Michelle from the Canyon Ranch Spa.
Hello.
Hello.
Michelle Cardenas from Brightway Wellness, a Reiki master and one of the board members for the International BioTouch Foundation.
Hello, Maya.
Hello, Michelle.
And
Nice to
our
meet
beautiful friend, Rian Maldonado from the Shy Moon Center. She's also a Reiki master, and she's here with us today.
Hello, Maya.
Hello. Nice to meet you, too.
You too.
Maya, when we finished our session the other day, my body was vibrating from head to toe as though something extraordinary had taken over me. It wasn't anything I had any cognizant, intentional, deliberate way of controlling. It just was, and I just still don't know what actually happened. But I don't know if that's necessarily the most important thing that I want to tell people about the work that you do. I want to talk about your tradition, how you came to have awareness of this gift, because I'm going to guess you were born with this gift and you came to make a peace with it.
Absolutely.
Please tell
I've
us about the
always-
work you do as a shaman.
Okay. Well, I've always been an intuitive healer, even though I have not created the Lemurian Code healing. But because I come from a family of healers, a lot of my family members in the Philippines were healers, and I have a great-great-grandfather. His name is Don Pedro, and he's a mystic shaman. And he's out of this world. And even though we are, you may think that, you may be far away from your family. Your soul family is still very close to you, And even though time has passed, they still are within your vicinity. So this is what I call Lemurian Code healing, because we are assisted constantly by our ancestral lineage to help us, especially our spiritual guides, which is the most important part of our growing in this 3D dimension. But we are beyond 3D when we use the spiritual realm for our highest and best good. And that's what has been happening lately. People are getting to understand what spirituality is truly all about. And 3D is just one dimension where we live. And there are more dimensions beyond this. We can't see them. And for some people that are not sensitive to it, we cannot feel them. But for those people who are very sensitive to it, the intuitives, the sensitives, they're able to see that part through visions, and it comes to them through dreams, and they can even directly communicate with the spiritual realm, because truly there is no distance. And it's very, very important for us to understand that because our limited senses is always engaging on a day-to-day basis, that doesn't mean that we're not in the bowl of the soup of this consciousness, the cosmic consciousness. And that consciousness where we are living is always changing and transmuting depending upon our intentions. So we are able to recreate on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, what we want to create, because we are so tuned in and so focused. And it's a deliberate creation that we'd like to invite from the universe. So this is very, very important. In Lemurian Code healing, storytelling is very important. And Lemurians comes from generations of storytelling. So my grandmother has told me about my great-great-grandfather, Don Pedro. And she doesn't usually tell it just to anybody, but she chooses the type of personality that can resonate with this. Because sometimes, people have ears, but they don't have the ability to listen.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
You know,
So
and
That is
so
true.
when we're tuned in, then we're able to hear the message. And what happens is that our DNA vibrates with that. So when you said earlier that your body was shaking and vibrating at that frequency, because your frequency was raised to a higher level. And there has been a breakthrough. That breakthrough has opened up a totally new area of your understanding within you. And that totally resonated with what you really have been calling on a soul level. So this is very deep. It's a soul level calling. And Lemurian code healing has to do with your soul family, with the cosmic soul creation, and with the universe. And when you and I work on this session that day, this is normal for, I have a lot of clients that goes through this, and they're wondering why they have to go through the shaking, because it's actually in a very deep subatomic structure that this happens. It's like opening up a gate, and the gate is so wide open, you're willing to receive the information, and your body and your cells vibrate into that frequency. And so that's what we did. And you receive that. And that's why you can feel that beyond what you can explain it.
I'm far too naive to use accurate language. I haven't had enough time with it yet to tell you what happened. And I'm somebody who prizes and loves words. But more than anything else, I can tell you that I am absolutely positively a different human being today because of this.
Oh,
and,
that's beautiful.
And it's not anything that you would know in advance you can't know where it's going to take you. You just can't. It's like saying, do you know what you're going to be when you grow up? No. You know?
Yeah.
It just, but it's not growing up like we know on Earth. It's like growing up out of this world.
I'd like to know something. Like, I have a question, Maya. How were you able to raise Jennifer's vibration? What is the technique in the healing code? Is it just storytelling?
This is such a good question. Maya, can we take a very quick break so we don't have to get interrupted for the answer? We're going to take this break. You want to know what? You want to know where to go? You have got to go to Lemurian Shaman. It's lemurianshaman.com, correct?
It's Lemurian Code Healing or MayaTheShaman.com. That's a lot easier. MayaTheShaman.com. That will take you to Lemurian Code Healing.
Excellent.
And I want to tell you that you are also, and we're also really privileged to have you on with us today because there's a brand new book that you are one of the contributing authors to, the Awakening Starseeds Shattering Illusions book that's just come out, and you've been one of the contributing editors. This is a family project. We'll talk about that as well on the other side. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to take your calls and questions. I know you are going to have calls and questions. I know you're going to want to talk to Maya the Shaman. I know you're going to want to find out where she is. And by the way, she's calling us from the East Coast. She's not here in town. We have got to get this all wrapped up because you and I are in a very special place today. We're having a very special luncheon, and we're having a very special visit with some extraordinary people, and I'm glad you're here. This is Around the Table, live from the city of gastronomy. This is AM 1030 The Voice, your trusted source for local news and talk. We'll be back with more. Welcome back. Maya, that was a gift I want to share with you to start the conversation about how these traditions, I almost think that the phrase passing them down in the family is inaccurate or technically incorrect because there is no passing down because there is no passing on. We're all still here. It's also, how would you describe how these traditions of healing exist over the traditional 3D through time and space, how it is that you have this wonderful working relationship with your great-grandfather, and how families have these traditions that many people don't get to hear about or learn about.
Okay, so what we are in this lifetime is not separate from our other lifetimes, and sometimes we experience or we would like to experience various types of realities in each lifetime so that we can understand the diversity within this creation. And so for me, my personal contract that I had chosen is to be born in the lineage with my family that I have soul contract with, like Don Pedro. And Don Pedro is a great shaman. He's an amazing mystical being. And how we connected was through my grandmother. And she doesn't usually tell the story to every single person in the family. So she has also this soul contract with me so that when I'm growing up, I will get to understand more about what she's talking about, because my Lola Senyang's father is the son of Don Pedro. And when she talked about her family, she carries this incredible feeling of honoring them. And there is a sense of, I would say almost, that spiritual grace that comes with it. And she doesn't take it lightly. Maybe I can read a small part of the story that I've written in the book.
I'd love that. I would love that. Please. This is Maya the Shaman reading about her family.
Okay. So there's a part of this book where my grandmother continued her story, and she talked about Don Pedro. So when my Lola spoke with respect and honor about Don Pedro, and I can never forget a story told by her about Don Pedro. She said that Don Pedro traveled to America and back to the Philippines in his bubble. He did not use a vehicle, a plane, or any other form of transportation. He teleports himself through space and time to his desired destination in spirit time. Don Pedro was a shapeshifter shaman and a very mysterious man. He had the power to appear and disappear unnoticed. Don Pedro possessed powers that are out of this third dimension. And there are fourth, fifth, and higher dimensions which ordinary human beings have no clue or understanding about when it comes to the spirit realm. My grandmother continued her story. She said Don Pedro told his family that he was leaving for America and would be back in 3 days. While Don Pedro was gone, several robbers got into his house, packing his precious things in their bags. They took the goods and hurried on their way out, but got lost in a maze, and they could not find the door. They kept going around and around inside Don Pedro's house, only to repeat the same steps, tracing back where they have already been before. They spent hours after hours, and then days in search for the mysterious lost door, which they never found. It left them exhausted, terrified, and somewhat insane. It was then that they realized Don Pedro's home was not an ordinary house. They should have not tried to rob it, but it was too late. Don Pedro had the capacity to change the physical structure of matter. He had closed all the portals of his house and trapped them in. After 3 days, Don Pedro returned back home. The door and windows appeared again. The police escorted Don Pedro to fetch the robbers. Obviously, Don Pedro knew what was happening at his home while he was gone. The robbers were sobbing and expressed their anxiety to Don Pedro, saying, "Why did you not come back sooner?" That was how my grandmother ended her Don Pedro story.
Oh, wow. That's intense.
Pretty incredible.
Yes. So the lesson I got was that despite Don Pedro having extraordinary powers, he did not display or use them to directly punish the robbers. He could have, but Don Pedro was also following the customary man-made rules created by the collective, and Don Pedro also showed up like an ordinary human being with a policeman by his side. So he handed the robbers to the police and expected them to perform their tasks to protect society, to keep peace and order. Don Pedro sees that the importance of established human structure to work in service for the people. When other members of the society go out of alignment, they should be paying their dues. Karma has got its ways to collect its dues. To bring about payback time is an aspect of this 3D reality. And so that's a part of that book.
Wow.
Wonderful.
Thank you for sharing.
Maya the Shaman is with us and is one of the authors in this wonderful compilation called Awakening Star Seeds, which you can find on Amazon.com. It's actually one of the best sellers right now on Amazon.com. But Maya, I want to go to the work that you do in your website and to learn a little bit more about Lemurian code healing.
Okay. So go ahead.
On your website, you talk about these sacred codes that had been, in a sense, waiting for you. When we started our conversation today and we talked about people awakening, why is it that all over the world right now, people are awakening in a way that is recognizable and identifiable and expanding and expanding and expanding? Why is this happening to us now?
You know, we are slowly awakening for a very, very long time, but there has been suppressed energies that wants us to fall back and go to sleep. But because this is a very precious time where we're at, and actually we're very blessed to be born at this time of our life, because this is what my daughter would say is that the dark and the light are toe-to-toe, which means, for me, the Kali Yuga, which is the darkest hour, is meeting Satya Yuga, which is the age of light and truth. And so a lot of things are happening to us as individuals to pretty much shake us, shake our core, and wake us up.
My great-grandmother used to say that it never is darker and blacker than midnight. Is it midnight? Is it 11:55 or is it 12:05?
You know, in this age, there is what we call the darkest before the light. It's the dawn, you know, and before the light comes, the darkest hour is there. So we are meeting it, and it's our opportunity to bring more light into us so that we can shine it out, and we can shine out that beautiful part of us. And so, you know, the process of Lemurian code healing has to do with becoming more a receiver of light. And it's done through sound, love, and light through your DNA. So DNA activation is very, very important part of Lemurian code healing.
So the other day when you were helping me and working with me, you were working on my DNA.
Exactly.
And if you had asked me, Jennifer, could you take your DNA out and go throw it in the dishwasher? I wouldn't know where to go. Most of us couldn't identify what our DNA looked like. It's only recently that they were able to crack that code. This sounds like something most people like myself, we just can't possibly technically understand. Is there a simple way to talk about how our DNA is right in front of our eyes?
Exactly. You know, the funny thing is that spirituality is really a science. And when I say that, spirituality is the energy that creates everything in this universe. There is what we call Shakti Shiva Atmakam Brahma. That means the female and the male energy are one and cannot be separated. It is the duality that separates this. Within our body, we have both the masculine and the feminine, and we also have that externally. So it's all around us. But we have gone through this huge drama in our being able to come back home. We are not able to see every part of this creation because we are like the soul, our soul is squeezed into this physical body like a glove that goes in it. So as you can see, it's contained in a small, limited container. But our soul was so big to begin with. It's huge. So when you contain our soul in this 3D dimension that is very limited, you will have to master the art of knowing thyself and knowing who you are. And so that goes back deep into the time where there is timeless, because creation is infinite. And so, and who are we? That's a question. Where did we come from? We come from the main source of all life and energetic force that created this universe. We are that energetic field, but we limit ourselves.
Why is our natural reaction to limit ourselves?
Well, because in time we have been conditioned by the society, by, okay, let me explain this to you. Because the universe contains all the colors, from dark to light, and all the colors of the rainbow. And this is what creation is all about. So we get to experience, you're not just born in this lifetime, you have many, many other lifetimes before you came to this planet. Or even, when you came here, you might want to have experienced how it feels to be a turtle, or how it feels to be a tree, or how it feels to be a rock. But you're a soul to begin with. You're a spirit. So for you, who knows this in the depth of your being, in your contract with the great universe, time is not an essence. It's timeless. Because the universe goes on forever and ever. And it keeps on expanding. And so when we understand that there are timelines and there are ages where we can reconstruct realities, I would say that this time where we're at right now is a very exciting time. That's why a lot more people are awakening. They can feel that vibration that's being sent from the heart of this universe. And those who are sensitive and who can feel this, who are open to receiving, and I'm saying open to receiving because you cannot receive anything if you're so close to it. So when one is open to receiving, then you harness that life force.
Earlier
and
in...
you bring,
go ahead.
And you bring that into your body, and you become the conduit for it.
Okay. Earlier in the show, in the first hour, we were talking about intuition. We were talking about the intrinsic and essential notion that in order to hear with all of your being, that you have to get into your gut. You have to listen with your gut. You have to have that experience of sort of going beyond your body, right? And when you do that, you have to be present. When we're talking about being present at the beginning of the show, in order to listen fully with every part of our body so that our intuition can serve us as we walk through the world. And then we talk to you about this notion that there is no time of right now. How do I reconcile that notion of what is present if there is no linear kind of explanation for that?
Well, our duality creates linear time. But when we step out of it, then you become timeless, just like Don Pedro.
Mm-hmm.
He is timeless, and he can go in and out of every dimension that he wanted to go to, because he's connected to the prime source of that energetic field. And I can receive information from Don Pedro. I do channel Don Pedro, and my daughter and I do that. And we get his vibration and energy, and when I open my mouth, he just keeps talking through me. I become a conduit for that.
Wow. That's amazing.
So,
Listen, Maya, we're going to take a very quick break. Maya the Shaman is here with us. She is one of the world's leading experts on Lemurian code healing. She would love to hear from you as well. 520-790-2040. If you have any questions, if you'd like to understand how this moment of this present moment is in fact the very present moment that we're talking about, because we're here. We're really here. There are really peaches on the table. Executive Chef Russell Michelle really is here. Michelle Cardenas from Brightway Wellness really is here. And our good friend Rianne Maldonado has got the cards out, and she's here with us right now. We are so blessed and happy to have Maya the Shaman here as well. We'll be back with more right after this. Don't touch that dial. Back, everybody. This is Around the Table, live from the City of Gastronomy. Our guest of honor today is Maya the Shaman. She's phoning in from her magical lair on the East Coast. That was music that she has inspired us to discover called Baba Nam Kevalam. Her name is Maya the Shaman. Welcome back. That was for you, my friend.
Thank you.
That was fun music.
Yeah.
What does Baba Nam Kevalam mean?
Baba Nam Kevalam means love is all there is.
Oh,
It's
I love
the
that.
food of the soul.
Mm-hmm.
We had guests at the ranch today, and they were having some morsels of goodness. And I was just talking to them tableside, and we were talking about how they feel such a love and energy at the Canyon Ranch, and then that's what we are all made of, just sharing of love and care, and focus on positive energy, because there's so much energy out there that can confuse us and distract us, that if we focus on the positive energy and those energies around us and combine our energies together with positive people, then it really comes out to be a very dynamic journey.
Awakening Starseeds is a book that is recently released, published, available on Amazon.com. It's a book that is a compilation of extraordinary writings from really remarkable and gifted friends who include the one and only Maya the Shaman. The book is by Radha Neela, who happens to be Maya the Shaman's daughter. We welcome her back. This book is zooming up the charts. It's one of the most popular books right now on Amazon in the category. How do you attribute everyone's interest in this notion?
Well, the feeling is important, and every person wants to resonate with other people's story, and it feels like it rings a bell.
Mm-hmm.
Then they would like to pick that up and learn something from that, because we humans like to look at other humans to get information, to circulate this notion of wanting to become a part of something, that you're not the only one that experienced something that you have gone through. It has to do with struggles in life or clash. And then to learn something about cohesion and transformation, that's a big thing for we humans. We like to know more about those stories, because that inspires our soul, because we are truly soulful beings.
And if you want to be it, you've got to be able to see it. And that's what we're looking for when we look with our eyes. We look with our hearts.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Maya, we've had several questions come in about this, and Michelle is going to synthesize them for us into one question.
Well, I'm just intrigued in the process of the healing code. Is it done through music? Is it done through guided imagery, storytelling? Are you telling the story? Is your client telling the story? How do you bring out the healing and make that occur? How does the DNA become morphed and changed into something better?
Lemurians came to our planet with a mission, and that mission came through me as one of those beings that are the direct descendants of Lemuria. But this comes through us, through the traditional way of sharing. That's why the Lemurian code healing brings up stories as well, because we would like to know more about where we came from, what happened to our lives. It's a part of the historical creation on Earth and beyond it.
So do you put your client in sort of a trance state in which you're there's a hypnosis portion and then you're drawing out the story? How does that come alive?
It's a natural process, and it happens because the person that I'm working with is open and ready. And because I am a conduit, the energy passes through me, and then it's received by the person who I'm working with.
I don't know how to explain this, Maya, but let me try, because I was the one on,
on the
in the relaxed
receiving
mode,
end.
on the receiving end. I don't believe, because you were on the phone with me, and you weren't in the room with me. You were in 3 time zones away. And I don't believe that there was a moment in the experience where I felt like I had been hypnotized, entranced. I've done many, many healings with Michelle and her colleagues at the Brightway Wellness. I've had experiences where I've gone into an extremely deep guided meditation where the time passes very, very quickly, and I wake up and I feel, oh, well, what just happened? I was fully awake the entire time, but while we were together and you were doing this code work and this code healing for me, the Lemurian code healing, what was happening was the reason my body was vibrating, and it was as if my central nervous system, but it was even, how do I explain, it was even deeper than my central nervous system, that there was something taking place in me that wasn't in me. It was making the physical me that was in the room that I was in, on the phone with you that I was on, have this tremulousness experienced. But I suspect it was because the work you were doing was taking place somewhere very, I don't want to say deep because it suggests strictly in. It was in and around my life. And that's the sort of most naive, honest way I can say it.
You said it. It's a very simple way, and spirituality is very simple. And it has to be just opening up yourself, because we touch your heart. Because Lemurian code healing has to do with the heart chakra as well. Even though we're working at your body from the very tip of your toe all the way to the tip of your hair and your crown chakra, it's really your heart that we touch. And when your heart opened up, it's able to access the cosmos, the infinity. And you're lifted up into that space and time where you become the one that truly is a part of that. Because you're not really separate from that. But we have forgotten it, being wrapped up into this physical structure. We are truly a spiritual being wanting to experience human life. And so this is truly a part of us that wanted to come back home. And the home that we truly want to call is beyond all these limitations. And it's a constant feeling of wanting to experience that more. Once you experience this feeling of connectedness with your higher self that's connected to a bigger I would call it like, you know how the computers are so far away from each other, but they all work together.
Right.
There's a central computer.
Like the cloud.
Well, this is the cosmic computer.
Yep.
And so
I have to tell you, we've literally run out of time, which is hard to believe. But I want to tell you, the one thing I will corroborate is that it's critically important for you to tell people how to get in touch with you to learn more about this.
It's www.mayadeshaman.com, or they can text me at 310-933-2568.
Maya, God bless you and thank you so much. Executive Chef Russell Michelle, thank you from Canyon Ranch.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Michelle, I'll see you on Monday.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
Rianne, thank you so much. The
Thank
Shy
you.
Moon Center is open. See him on Broadway. Hug your kids, count your blessings. We'll see you on Monday. Thank you all. God bless you.